4 years ago, my friend and I made a game in a week and got 3rd place in the game jam out of nearly 2,000 submissions. It took us almost 2 years though to decide that we wanted to turn it into a full game. But despite us creating a really good demo and the original version having been played over 5,000 times, publishers did not care. Let's rewind. The game is Greg's Mess, and it's a chaotic cleaning game inspired by games like WarioWare and Neighbors from Hell. In every level you've made a huge mess and you have to clean it up before anyone realizes. And you do this by playing minigames where every minigame is its own task. It's funny, it's silly, and most importantly, it's a lot of fun. Alright, it's the first week of 2023 and we're starting a new project. That's right, completely from scratch, only using the Game Jam version as a reference because there is just no way I'm ever touching that code again. Game jams are basically the equivalent of people with no coding knowledge doing vibe coding. Maybe it works, but try to expand on it and it will just explode at some point. It's bad spaghetti, so it was easier to just start over. So I built the systems from the ground up in a way that would make adding new levels much easier. Because now I could just add a bunch of tasks to a list and the game would know what it wants you to do in that level. Interaction was now also way better, although you wouldn't be able to tell. But also I fixed a huge problem I had with the original game. Everything throughout the entire level was playable with just a keyboard, and suddenly there would be this one minigame which was making your bed, and for some reason you would need to use your mouse for that. And it just...
disgusting.
I could see that being a problem for publishers. And gamers, of course. Yeah, they matter too. So I turned it into almost like a DDR kind of minigame. It's way too easy currently, but it at least feels better. No more breaking of immersion because you suddenly have to move your hands to your mouse. But while rebuilding the game, my friend and I made sure we improved on every single aspect of it. The gameplay needed to feel solid, super fun and challenging, but also make you feel like you want more. So we made a system that rewards you for completing all the tasks by giving you stars. It shows you all the tasks you've done, including this one continuous task that you cannot fail, like in this first level, making sure that your cat doesn't eat the fish, but it also shows you how much time you had left on completing the level, all to add a bunch of replayability and maybe even to challenge speedrunners. We made a new logo, polished the minigames some more, added a little teaser in the main menu that there would be customization, and finally I added gamepad support. In the level itself, anyway. Menus kinda suck. We had decided early on that this game had something special. So many people played it back in 2021 that it clearly had potential. So we agreed. We would reach out to publishers, get some funding, and make this game full-time. We finished the demo, just that same apartment level where you needed to clean everything up before your wife would get home. It was a great demo, literally better in every single way. I then even made a pitch deck, which was basically just a website showing a gameplay video with me narrating. But it also had a link to a game design document. In case you don't know, a game design document is a document that explains to literally anyone what your game is. The genre, the mechanics, the story. This is used so that you and everyone else on your team is on the same page about what this game is supposed to be. And also, it's a great way of telling publishers what to expect of your game. I based mine on the one Thomas Brush made for his game Brave Boy, which got him in the door with Devolver Digital. And I figured if I just used that as an example, almost like a template of some sorts, surely that would help. Right? I think it turned out great. It fits the style of the game, it shows some great ideas and fun examples of customization. I mean, it even has my beautiful face on it. What else do you need? But I just put everything together nicely and sent a bunch of emails to publishers. And no, I definitely did not forget to set my game's demo public. Of course not. That would be ridiculous. We waited, and we waited, and, well, it didn't go great. I ended up reaching out to 14 publishers. 4 of them rejected our game, and 10 of them never replied. Yeah, not particularly fantastic. But some were kind enough to also add a reason as to why they weren't interested. And while I won't tell you which publishers said what, I can tell you the most important thing that they said. This game does not currently align with our portfolio. Now, this may seem obvious to you, and in hindsight it totally does. It makes complete sense. But at the time, I hadn't even considered that. I had all this great material and I kind of just sent it off to literally any publisher I could find that I also already knew of. I didn't look at publishers that made completely different kinds of games, but I never thought to look specifically at those that make similar games. It really does make sense. Like, why would a publisher be interested in something that doesn't resemble their previous work in the slightest? For example, could you imagine a publishing company like Bandai Namco making an Among Us-like? That would just be silly.
Bruh.
But of course, publishers wouldn't take a risk on something that they haven't already confirmed will work. Because that's what they do. They find games they think will work, and the closer it is to stuff they usually publish, like how Devolver Digital often has games that feel pretty similar in setting, the less risk there is in actually funding the game. But also, look at our game. When we first started making it, we decided to go with a MacPixel kind of look, but a little more modern. It looks silly and fun, but as the great Chris Sakowski has said, beautiful games just do way better. Games have to be fun, absolutely. They have to prove that they're actually worth money, but gamers definitely judge a book by its cover, or in this case, a game by its art. I like the look of our game a lot, but I can definitely understand the difficulties that come with it. Now, I'm not blaming anyone for any of this, by the way. I understand why this game doesn't work for publishers, and there are more reasons. Like, the demo could have definitely used some more polish. It's a lot of fun, but in those 10-15 minutes that you have to convince a publisher, it needs to be 100% solid. But at the same time, Greg's Mess is very niche. It's not a roguelike, it's not a 3D job simulator game, and it's not a survival crafting game, like my upcoming game, Skies of Avium, which you can wishlist now on Steam, by the way. It's got surviving, it's got crafting, but also automation and Greek mythology. Link is in the description below. But because Greg's Mess is so niche, it is also a bigger risk to fund. There's just too big of a chance of it failing and not making a profit. It really sucks because I do think that this game has got something, and oh man do I love it. Unfortunately, publishers just didn't feel the same. So we kinda just stopped working on it after all that happened. We had a solid first level and we had started working on a second one. But things not going the way we had hoped was a little discouraging. In the meantime, I made Popmoji and I finished up Le Chateau and I started working on Skies of Avium. I have learned so much about game design since, and still, I really want to make this game. So hopefully I get to one day. Publisher or not, doesn't really matter. Either way, this game has got something special. And one day it will exist. I just hope that that one day is soon. Until then, the 1-level demo is available to play, link in the description below. It is really fun and I am certain you will love it. Also, a huge thank you to Demigod tier supporter Sharkbuffs and God tier supporter Blake on Patreon. It is very much appreciated and helps me in making my game Skies of Avium. If you also want monthly builds of the game, or maybe even a Steam key, there's a link in the description below. Anyway, subscribe. See you next time.